how do I stay insanely productive and motivated to be able to work 12 plus hours in a single day? Well, a while back I made a video, a day in the life video of a print-on-demand seller, and that video did really well and it got a lot of comments of people saying, how are you staying so productive? How are you doing so much work? It can be really hard and not every day I'm super productive, but I wanted to break it down for you and tell you the exact ways I like to try and stay as productive as I possibly can. Personally, I find staying productive is so much harder when you work for yourself because you have no deadlines. Well, all the deadlines are self-imposed. All the work you do is set by yourself, and the work that you have to do or anything you end up doing is again work set by yourself. So it's a lot easier having someone to say, go and do this and then go and do this. You know exactly what you need to do. But the difficulty of staying productive and motivated when you work for yourself is you're doing everything. You have to figure everything out, you have to do everything, and it's really, really, really easy to get distracted, especially when you're surrounded by screens, phones, iPad, whatever it is. It's super easy to get distracted. The first way is I like to list everything down that I'm doing. Anything that I'm thinking, I like to write down. If I have a quick thought, if I have an idea, if there's a movie I remember that I wanted to watch, but I don't want to forget about it, I'll write it down instead of actually watch it. Or, if there's literally anything, right? If there's a meeting I have, or if there's a phone call, if there's a job, if there's a design I had a good idea for and I just want to jot it down. The most important thing for me anyway is when I have an idea, I can't act on it straight away because I need to finish the task at hand. So I need a good way to be able to write stuff down. Now I have post-it notes and I write post-it notes down on my desk. I've also got a little whiteboard that I use, but the main tool that I use for all of this, brain writing down, remembering kind of stuff is an app called Notion. I absolutely love Notion, and no, this video is not sponsored by Notion. I think it's free, but the point is I like to use Notion as kind of like a second brain. Literally, it's organized down to a T. There is everything in there, to-do list, websites that I need to look at, websites that I'm currently looking at but I had to close the pages, my garden that I need to do, a shopping list that I need to get, like literally everything you can possibly imagine, all the expenses I've had, the money coming in, the clients, everything, it's all in this app, and this app serves as a second brain, which for me allows me to stay productive because if I'm ever thinking, oh, but what was that I was saying, I can just look at this app. Or if I have an idea, I can just write it down, and there's a specific section for everything in this app. So as I'm sure you can imagine, that is a really, really, really easy way to stay productive, or just to at least stay motivated when you can see everything in front of you. If I ever, think, what should I do now? Well, I can just look at the app and see what's left or what projects I'm working on. Everything, literally everything. You can see from the screenshots or video that I'm showing that literally everything is on this app. Okay, so number two is I like to write a list either the night before or the morning. I like to write a to-do list of what I'm going to do that day. Now this isn't, mind-blowing new information. I'm sure everyone writes a to-do list. I like to write a to-do list that is slightly too long, that I know I won't be able to complete. The reason for that is this. I've trialed writing lists, that have a couple of items on it that I know I'll be able to complete that day, and which I have completed that day. But then it gets to that point when you complete the list, and what you're supposed to do is add things to the list. But what inevitably ends up happening is you think, I've finished the list. Let's dig a rabbit hole through YouTube. Let's watch a movie. Let's go out. Let's do something like that. And that is not the best way to be able to stay productive and to just continue working throughout the day. So what I like to do is I like to write a list that is slightly too long, right? I know all the tasks on there need to be done, but I know it will take me longer than a day. I mean, if I work crazy, I'll be able to do it in a day, but chances are it's going to take me longer than a day. I'll make sure to have the most important tasks right at the top, and then at the end of the day, if there's 2 or 3 tasks left over, that's absolutely fine because I know I've worked my ass off all day on the other ones, and then I'll just pass those ones to the next day, and I'll just, keep doing the same thing. The third one is I like to take breaks. Now I know this sounds weird and counterproductive. If I'm talking about working 12 hours a day, how am I taking breaks? Well, no, truth be told, I do like to take breaks and they're really important. I don't really follow a specific regime on how I take my breaks. Like there's this whole Pomodoro technique where you work, I think it's 20 minutes, then 5-minute breaks. I don't really do stuff like that because I just, for me, I like to start and finish a task. So for example, I will take a break depending, the size of the break I take, is depending on how big the task was. So if I'm editing a video and it's taking me 3 hours and it's a 3-hour grueling edit, then I'll take a solid half an hour break. And in that break, you know, I could watch YouTube, I could go and make lunch. Usually I'm browsing the internet, drooling over supercars that I want to buy, literally anything like that. A lot of the time when I'm watching YouTube, they're actually productive videos. So even though it's a break, it's still, you know, somewhat brain stimulating, which I find really, really useful. But stuff like, you know, shopping for cars or cooking food, that's just really relaxing and I don't have to really think, which is what kind of a break needs to be. So you can just let your brain kind of reset for a second. Now for a task that's like an hour, let's say I'm designing t-shirts or something like that, and I spend an hour or 2 hours on that task, I probably won't take as long of a break as I would with video editing, just because it's not a difficult task in of itself, right? I'll have music or podcasts or sometimes even a movie on in the background when I'm editing, and then the actual editing process is quite relaxing for me, so I won't need to take a crazy break. So that will warrant maybe a 5 or 10 minute break, and that's kind of how I work. I like to work in chunks of projects and take breaks in between each project, rather than go from project to project to project all day, because literally then I will probably just burn out. So that's how I take my breaks. The fourth method is setting milestone rewards. Now a milestone reward for me, anyway, everyone's different, but for me, I find it highly motivating. I find it drives me way more than, you know, just doing something. Setting a milestone reward basically means when you hit a milestone, you can reward yourself, right? So I have this shopping list of items that I want to get, right? Things that will either, you know, that I just want, things that will help me with business, things that I will find enjoyment with, whatever they may be. And I like to kind of get them at certain milestones. Some things I do just randomly buy, but the bigger items I like to get at certain milestones. And what is a milestone? Well, a milestone isn't, you know, finishing a video edit or posting a video that day, or, you know, uploading 100 different designs to the platform, right, Etsy or something. That's not a milestone. A milestone is something that could have taken weeks, months, maybe even a year. And it's a big project that when you finally complete, it's a big deal, right? It's a really big deal. For example, my next big milestone with YouTube would be hitting 50,000 subscribers. Once that milestone's hit, then I can kind of go to my shopping list and be like, you know what, I'm gonna reward myself with this kind of thing. And I know it sounds petty, I know it sounds materialistic, I know it sounds silly, but everyone's different, everyone's wired differently, and for some people, it's really motivating because you see an immediate effect, well not an immediate effect, but you see a direct effect from the work you've put in to an outcome, right? Because sometimes when you work for yourself and you don't get a paycheck and you don't have, you know, colleagues kind of all doing similar things, it's very hard to kind of see that you've accomplished something and to see that you've done something and you've finished a big task, right? And you're now moving on to the next task. So it's a nice big break between each task, and it's also, you can kind of put that task with that item you bought. So for example, if I do something really big and I buy myself a watch or something like that, I can relate that watch to that moment in time of me completing that project as that big milestone, and that was the reward I got myself. So I really like to set reward-based milestones. The fifth one is something everyone can do, and I think it's something everyone will agree with, and that is keeping a neat desk. For me, I find a neat desk is a neat mind, or the opposite, a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind, and it's much harder to focus. And I find that so true. When my desk is a total mess, my brain is just a total mess. So I like to keep my desk really clean. I like to have everything on my desk that I need to stay productive. So I've got my post-it notes, I've got my pen, I've got, you know, the iPad to the left. I've got everything that I need to stay productive. And I'm actually doing a desk tour. I'm going to do a 2021 desk tour, an updated version, because I did one, you know, previously. So I want to do one of those. But definitely keeping a neat desk massively helps you stay productive, because there's less distractions, there's less things cluttering up your mind in a way, you know, there's less things in your focus. You just need to focus at the task at hand. And finally, number 6 is I like to keep do not disturb on all the time. Now, if you don't have an iPhone, I'm sure Androids do this as well, but do not disturb is basically where you could just put your phone on, do not disturb so no one can text you. Well, everyone can text you, but you get no notifications, no vibration, nothing, right? So on my iPad, I have do not disturb on 24/7. On my Mac, I have do not disturb on 24/7. I do not need emails popping in every 5 seconds, notifications from websites popping in, YouTube notifications, all these random app notifications that I just have forgotten to turn off. I don't need any of that. When it comes to my phone, however, I would, in theory, love to keep Do Not Disturb on all day, but that's really hard because I get phone calls. Sometimes I do need to respond to a message. Sometimes it's important. Sometimes it's work related. So that's really hard to keep that on Do Not Disturb. And annoyingly, it can be a distraction because having your phone buzz every couple of minutes, well, it's really, really annoying. What I do tend to do with my phone is I'll put it on Do Not Disturb if I'm creating, a video or I'm doing a task where I cannot be disturbed. For example, now my phone is on Do Not Disturb because I don't want to see messages. I don't want to hear buzzing in my ear because it immediately distracts my brain and then I lose focus, right? So, and that's something you could try actually. If you don't care about getting phone calls, I spoke to a friend about this. He doesn't care about getting phone calls throughout the day and he has his phone on Do Not Disturb all day and he's noticed his productivity going up really, really high. So definitely try, putting your phone on Do Not Disturb and see how it affects your productivity. Those are the 6 ways I like to stay productive. And I just want to quickly add, I know this all sounds difficult, and everything, and working for yourself sounds like a ball ache, but I absolutely love working for myself. I mean, I know there's the uncertainty of pay, there's that huge risk of, will something work, there's the time factor, you're working all the time, it's really hard to disconnect. But for me, the reason I love working for myself is because I'll always have that sense of freedom. If I really want to, I can just not do anything today. I know I'll fall behind in certain projects, things will be late, but they're self-imposed deadlines and things just won't get done. But never, at the end of the day, it's down to me and that's what I really love. And the other reason why I absolutely love working for myself is because I know that I'm building something, I'm building something for myself that hopefully will one day be big and successful and whatever it is. And I know that that is the end goal. And the fact that I'm working for myself means I'm able to hopefully one day reach that goal, right? And that's why I absolutely love working for myself. Now I am bringing out another video on my desk setup and how I stay motivated through my desk setup and why everything is placed and what I have and why I like to have everything where it is. And hopefully that will come out really, really soon. But I will save those other ways I stay productive for that video. For now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching and I have one question. What's one thing you like to do to try and stay productive and to try and stay motivated every single day?